Much like the game's introduction, Observation is beaming with a mysterious storyline, exhilarating sounds, well-designed and beautiful graphics, and yet confusing puzzles tied together in an attempt to create interconnected and meaningful webs. Hello everyone, my name is Wisa, and in this review we will be looking at what makes Observation unique in terms of the story, gameplay, and design. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for similar content. Let's jump into it and start off with the story.
Houston, do you copy? Houston, come in. This is Dr. Emma Fisher on board Observation Horizon Arm. Please respond.
Observation is an adventure sci-fi puzzle-based game set in outer space. The main protagonist, Dr. Emma Fisher, wakes up and finds herself in a spacecraft with the AI, Systems, Administration, and Maintenance, also known as S.A.M, who you play as. The objects in their surroundings are in disarray. No one else is with them, at least not to their knowledge. Right from the get-go, we have no idea what the intentions of S.A.M are. Is he a conscious AI out for revenge against the evil masters of the human race? Or does he simply follow what he's programmed to do to achieve specific goals? This is reminiscent of the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey, in which the AI, HAL 9000, is similarly in charge of all the machinery and devices in the spacecraft to complete an exploration mission while ideally trying to keep the astronauts alive. As the story progresses, we witness Emma and Sam's unlucky and spiraling predicament. Dilemma after dilemma, one hardship after another. The game setting adds to the feeling of helplessness that the story introduces. Emma is constantly placed in claustrophobic areas in the spacecraft and in the cold reaches of outer space, which heightens the state of isolation brought about by these unknown and mysterious circumstances. The tension is constantly high because Emma is also the only human being in space. She is alone. We have been introduced to similar feelings of isolation and despair in several other titles, most notably Alien Isolation, Dead Space, and Soma. However, unlike these other games, we do not play as the main protagonist, but someone who observes and has very little control over what happens to the well-being of that central character. This then fosters a sense of care and sympathy since we continue to develop a relationship with Emma as we go through multiple ordeals together. As you discover more about the story's arc and you resolve problems together, you begin to wonder, why does she have to be alone? Where are we? Are we safe? Can we still find the others? Can we safely return back home? It doesn't matter that S.A.M is different from humans, we still go through the same problems as Emma. Now let's briefly take a look at the story's side aspects.
New restaurant just opened called EAS 12. Food is terrible, but it's got a great view. See you there at 0100.
Part of knowing who the crew members are is gathering notes and logs about them. This is one of the memorable anecdotes in the game because it shows a blossoming romantic relationship between a JR and Emma Fisher. The scene may seem simple, but it poses as a breather, a relief from the disasters that has yet to come. It's a sneak peek into who the characters used to be before all of this. With Observation, however, you have to remember that things are never as mundane as they seem. What you see is not what you get. When you explore further and learn more about the current situation and crew members, you slowly realize that there are other forces at play, making the game enigmatic and exciting at the same time. Despite the harrowing journey that we have gone through, what falls flat in the game's story element is its ending. Without going too much into details, the ending doesn't deliver the same suspenseful punches that the introduction and climax contain. We are left in disbelief as more questions have been raised rather than answered. Observation's objective is in line with what Emma needs to achieve. That is, she wants to find out what happened to the spacecraft while trying to unravel the mystery behind her missing crewmates. Now let's look at the next portion of the review, which is the gameplay. Observation boasts the many mechanics that its gameplay contains. As Sam, you have an infinite number of investigation and automatic checks to do in order to resolve the spacecraft's issues. However, playing as the AI doesn't seem as liberating as it should be, theoretically speaking. It's very far from being able to control your surroundings and what happens with the characters around you. In fact, being Sam is limiting. Emma gives you instructions for you to follow and you carry these out.
Sam, the hatch in EAS 6 is locked down. Can you get it open for me?
Without these instructions, you are only able to acquire anecdotes about the rest of the crew, but that's about it. When left to your own devices, you don't progress in the gameplay and story. One of the more simple tasks is to pair any available laptop to your system, which guides you in opening hatch doors or gaining additional information about the missing crew. Sam can control parts of the spacecraft by also linking itself to various systems. You also have the ability to switch from a fixed to a movable camera in the form of security cameras and mobile spheres, respectively, which can house your AI brain to either inspect or to go to specific locations. Despite these seemingly fluid mechanics, you cannot adjust the mouse sensitivity similar to No Code's previous game, Stories Untold. As a result, the high mouse DPI or movement can potentially cause motion sickness. Because of this, we decided to use an Xbox controller for the entire playthrough. At the beginning, the instructions of what Sam ought to do are clear and concise. These do not hold your hand, but it leaves room for thought. That's the supposed challenge as you try to resolve one issue after another. However, as your missions escalate, said instructions and objectives start to become confusing. Playing as Sam becomes a chore as the mechanics of what you have to do makes no sense.
First, we need to adjust the array to target the other station's relative position from ours. And the astrophysics lab may have some answer to that.
An observation doesn't do this gently, it does so with impact. As a result, some puzzles become too unintuitive and challenging for their own good. On the contrary, some puzzles are way too simple in nature that it's literally just what you see, and you only have to push buttons to get a device or gadget to work. Puzzles ranging from simple to average to difficult are appealing, but only when done correctly. Said puzzles have become unbalanced because it doesn't add to the story's appeal or mystery or strength, rendering it meaningless. While some are so banal that they simply boil down to looking for ship damage in outer space.
Sam, while you're out there, take a closer look at the damage you detected earlier on the station exterior. What can you see?
Or getting lucky enough to find a document containing a laptop's password on the wall. While Emma does offer hints, not all of them are useful.
What would you like me to do, Emma?
Have a look at the network hub, please, Sam.
The experience is then diluted, and you're left to slog along. At the beginning of the game, we were thrilled to solve problems because it left us with a sense of achievement as we helped and protected Emma from danger. But as we picked up more of the mechanics, we began to shy away from the enjoyment. And unfortunately, the exploration itself did not save us from this matter. Exploration is rough due to the sphere's controls resulting in clunky movement, making the journey uneventful despite the web of information to unlock. This problem is further magnified during segments where Sam is let out into outer space. The atmosphere's darkness, plus the lack of memorable landmarks, makes navigation more of a frustrating challenge rather than an awe-inspiring moment space exploration is meant to be. Next is the design. Observation's graphic design is stunning. The utmost care in graphical fidelity is taken all the way from how the tight spaces of the spacecraft invokes a constant feeling of dread and isolation, to the way Emma's facial reactions exhibits that same dread and isolation. These emotions also contribute to what makes the game unique. Despite how bright most of the interior scenes are, you can't help but feel an ominous presence lurking by, as if it's ready to strike at every opportunity it can. For the most part, the environment doesn't need to rely on darkness to convey its horror theme. The artistic value of the spacecraft, baggy astronaut suits, and facial expressions are so precise that the threat of claustrophobia and loneliness becomes so real and tangible. Multiple scenarios then become living nightmares on their own. When we're in the ever so expansive outer space with a high possibility of disconnecting from any form of contact, the feeling of suffocation increases. It becomes a haunting experience to even hope that things may finally go well for Emma and Sam. Why, you ask? Because you learn to accept this gnawing thought that the characters are meant to go through these exhausting and draining ordeals. Another neat trick to show that there's something terribly wrong is the use of camera glitches. What better way is there than to demonstrate technology troubles by representing them with said issues? Next is the music and sound design, which complements the terror being felt in the spacecraft.
Sam, give me a status report.
There is significant stress being applied to EAS 12.
As well as the deafening silence in outer space. This silence is also intensified and well realized in the spacecraft, with various hums and creaks of the platform's dying machinery. In terms of voice acting, Emma definitely steals the show, as she's able to convey the feelings of dread, despair, and sometimes hope.
I'm not sure how much of this I can take. They're just hanging there. Well, UC2 is pressurizing just now. Let's try to contact them in the meantime. Assuming they aren't all dead. I could feel everything when I was in that airlock. I think it's related to power, but a lot of the hatches are fully locked down, so I'm gonna try something different here.
Observation strengths lie in sustaining the mystery behind the crew members' disappearance and the graphic and sound designs that are the backbone of the experience. Despite these amazing aspects, the game falls short on a lot of other things, such as the presence of confusing puzzles and drudging exploration. Playing as Sam isn't a saving grace either. as the actions you can do are limited by the instructions you are given. Moreover, the supposed payoff at the end doesn't come, and instead, you're left wondering if you should have observed this game at all. Hear us out! If you're a huge fan of anything space-related, we recommend buying Observation when it goes for at least 50% off from the normal price. It is a beautiful game design-wise, and this will leave you in awe. However, we wouldn't recommend the game if you're only expecting challenging, intuitive puzzles or a deep horror story. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, sharing and subscribing to the channel helps us a lot. Thank you for watching and have a great week ahead.